morning and welcome back to the BNP podcast. I'm your host, Brayden Moyars, with my co-host, Pete Pastorino. We have a special guest today, Sean Marbaugh. So, Sean, share us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Cathedral.
Well, I'm a senior here at Cathedral, and I'm a manager on the boys' basketball team. And that just means, I'm with the team all the time, preparing everything, getting the jerseys folded, doing the stats, just stuff like that.
So you mentioned yourself being part of the basketball program, obviously. So with the state title last year, was there an environmental change going in from, sophomore year to junior year?
Yeah, it kind of just seemed like everybody was more locked in. And once we made it to the playoffs, it was kind of like, all right, now it's time to go. Everybody, you could just tell there's just a sense that, we were going to win this thing.
Is there a focus of this year, the same thing with the talent that came back and everything? It was kind of hopes that we go back to back. So
yeah, that's going into this season. Our main goal was to go back to back, and that's still our goal, and that's still at the top of our mind.
Do you see that still happening?
Yeah, I do. I think we can make it.
Okay. Did you see the sectional draw?
Yeah, I did.
How are we feeling about it?
I think it's good. We got a bye. It's pretty solid.
P, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, who's been your most surprising player this year?
This year, I think it's for sure been Brady. Nobody really thought he'd be going in and scoring that much, and he's just turned it on.
How many points he scored? 24 or something?
Yes, I forget, but something crazy.
So, as probably most of us know, we played on ESPN this year. Was there a different experience for you as a manager, or did you get to see all the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, I got to see all the cameras and stuff, and then we weren't allowed to have our water bottles because they were Powerade logo, and it was a Gatorade sponsored event, so I had to deal with that. That was fun.
Did you have to figure out what they wanted and stuff?
I had to use their Gatorade bottles. They're their little cups.
P, you got anything?
I don't know. I feel like that covers a lot of what you see from the manager perspective of everything with our basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So for maybe an incoming freshman, what would you say the best part about Cathedral is?
I'd just say the environment here, everybody's family. You can talk to anybody, any teacher, any friend. Just a great place to be.
Do you have any classes you would recommend anybody take?
I would take advanced strength training with Cody. It's a great way to get big.
Okay. Thank you, Sean, for your experience today and sharing it with us.
No problem.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast that hopefully everybody's listening to, and thank you, Sean, for coming on. We really appreciate Sean coming on this podcast and giving us his experience about what the boys basketball team and what he's done for their program. So now we're going to talk about the Cathedral basketball program as a whole.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've had a pretty good season so far. We're sitting at 16-5. We've had some huge games this year. You think about earlier in the season had Centerville and Ben Davis back to back. Got the Centerville game as a win. Ben Davis, we didn't come out on top, but I think we learned a lot about their team. Then played Simeon on ESPN, team from Chicago. Didn't win that one either, but that was great exposure for the team, and we battled pretty much the whole game till the fourth quarter. Then we fell short in the city championship to Crispus Attucks, and we probably should have won that game. That was a rough one to lose.
Yeah,
we
that was
definitely favored to win that. But as a whole, this season's been really good. If you look at our losses, they're all against super quality opponents, and we're also beating very good teams.
Yeah, I would say especially with the Centerville win, that was our first true testament.
Yeah, that was huge.
The first 3 games I think we won by 90 combined points or something ridiculous like that. So coming in and playing Gabe Cups, obviously, IU commit, and just that environment at the shootout or whatever it was called, with a bunch of top teams. So I feel that was good for them to play some good competition. And then coming back with Ben Davis is even harder, considering we're going to have to play them in regionals most likely. And just Ben Davis is all around well-rounded, and I think they're still number 1 in the state, so that was a good test early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben Davis is up to top 10 in the country, so you're going to have to go through them at some point to get the state championship again. So.
And then with Attucks, I think you talked about how we were supposed to win it or whatever, and then that was just a heartbreaking game. Did Jake play that game? I don't think Jake played.
I don't remember.
Jake Davis, star player. I don't think he played that game with a knee issue type thing. So obviously with that being gone, that kind of hurts, but sometimes you just got to play through it.
Yeah, this season's been really cool though, coming off that state championship and having like Xavier being like a top prospect in the class. Like the exposure this team's had, we've gotten to play like so many out of state teams.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of cool. Like you like see like ESPN Next like posting videos on Booker dunking on kids. There was a video against the Fishers game where we won by 3. It was a kid, he dunking on a kid.
Yeah,
and
that alley-oop.
Yeah, it went viral. And then recently on Saturday night we just lost to Mail from Louisville. I wasn't there. I don't know if you were there.
I was there. The whole game was super tight, and then right at the end, Mail kind of went ahead at the end. But again, like really good team from out of state coming in, and we didn't win, but the competition level, like we are right there.
Yeah. Now we play Zionsville tonight for senior night. I don't know anything about them, but I'm sure they're probably pretty good to be on our schedule.
Yeah. I'm hoping they can get up by a lot. Get Sean in the game.
Maybe they'll get Sean in.
Yeah.
Now for the state championship, as that's coming around, the sectional drawing came out, I think, Sunday or Saturday night. So Cathedral got a bye, and I would say probably our sectional is probably one of the hardest, like, around the state, just
for sure.
Knownly, I guess, if you could say, with Addicts and Warren and Lawrence Central, Lawrence North. Basically all, like, the city schools coming and battling out for a week and a half. So we got a bye, luckily, so that's good. And Addicts is on the other side of the bracket, I saw, so that'll help us. And maybe potential sectional championship game, which would be fun to watch, I think, considering there's already kind of history going back.
The way everything works out, I mean, they put, like, 2 of the best sectionals right next to each other with us and the sectional with, like, Ben Davis, Roncalli, all them. And it's like you get out of our sectional and you get rewarded with playing like
Ben
the number
Davis.
1 team in the or in the state that hasn't even lost a game yet.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of like goes back with football maybe a little bit.
It is very similar.
We go through our like I feel like it could be for like teams on the other end. You have a hard sectional, some people would call it, and then you get feeded with us. Like like I feel like most people were on like the other end of it, but most schools probably feel the same way about us. Like you win your sectional, then you have to come play us. But I don't know. I feel like we can do pretty well in the tournament. I feel like it's gonna be a big test to get out of sectionals, like it usually is.
It will be.
And then you got regionals. 1 game this year. They changed the rules, so that'll be interesting. And then there's 2 semi-state games instead of 1. I talked to Coach Delaney a little bit, and he does not like that rule very much. But what can you do when they do that for you? I don't know if there's anybody good out of the North for state championship.
I don't know. Last year was terrible.
Yeah.
It was so hard to get to state, and then we get to state and beat that team by like.
Yeah, I think the problem is like Westfield was good and they got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how Chesterton made it, but they made it. I mean, anybody could make it at that point. They had that tiny guard that was pretty good.
Basketball is just a weird sport. You can have a couple really good games and luck your way into a big game and just get shelled.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Chesterton. I mean, you made it all the way and then just get claimed by 40-some. But who knows? Maybe we'll get another repeat this year.
Hopefully.
So that's our segment on the Cathedral Basketball team.